All right. What's going on? Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Periscope, and everybody out there in cyber world. We're here as Black Code Red. We haven't seen you guys in a couple weeks, but we are back. We are strong. It's me and the one and only Christian Whitfield. What's going on, Christian?
Hey, what's going on, man? We had like a little 2 week hiatus. Had some scheduling conflicts and things of that nature.
Yeah, we missed out on a lot of things that's going on. That's been happening the last 2 weeks, and so we apologize, you guys, for not being able to get to you like we wanted to. But hopefully and prayerfully that you are doing your own homework and studying for yourself, because you can't trust nothing we say on this show, can you?
Well, I mean, maybe not you.
Oh, okay. But I tell jokers, hey, don't believe nothing you see or hear on the show unless it's consistent with what you already know to be true, or you do your homework.
That's it. Do your homework too. Do your homework too. I'm gonna give it to you real and raw and 100% factual. I don't know about this guy over here, but
yeah. I was not saying I'm gonna try and lie to you or do anything, but all I'm saying is that since we're human beings and we can be wrong and we can make mistakes, that if you base your family's decisions on some misinformation,
yes, sir,
then you're probably not gonna wind up where you want to be.
Yes,
so
sir.
Although we're gonna do our best to bring in the most accurate information we can, you got to make sure you do your homework too. So hold our feet to the fire. We don't get no special treatment. Just like we say, question everybody. You can question us too. And all it does is make us better. Iron sharpens iron, baby. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Hey, you ain't scared of
you're failing your family if you ain't doing that.
There you go. And you ain't scared of no questions, are you?
That's it.
I ain't scared of no questions.
None whatsoever. Don't fail your family. Do your research,
There it is. All right. So let's get down to business. We
missed a lot.
Well, first of all, before we start anything, let's get something out of the way real quick and right up front. I would like to say that the Jaguars are those Jacksonville Jaguars are
awful.
I'm not gonna say
what I tell you.
You said they were gonna be awful.
I said enjoy that win.
Yeah, you did.
More the rest of the season.
And I ain't never liked you since. I ain't like you before, but I really don't like you now because your prediction was right.
Shad Khan is not interested in football. Only thing he is interested in is downtown development in Jacksonville.
Right? They're just a front to get downtown, right?
That's it. They've been giving it to him hand over foot.
Yes, they have.
Take what you want, folks.
It's crazy. But I'm still a Jaguar fan. I don't care. They keep losing. They keep losing. And even when I think they're going to win, something goes wrong, but it's all right. I'm still a Jaguar fan. So if you're a Jaguar fan right there, right now, if you're a Jaguar fan, just send us a little message right there on your Facebook, your Periscope, whatever you listen to, and just say, go Jags. Let's see if anybody's with me. Let me see if anybody, just say go Jags. Just one time, just type it in. Just type it in. Let me see you. Pretty please. Don't let me be the only one.
Moving on. As soon as you said Jaguar, you started losing viewers.
Wow. They just dropping off, huh?
Dropping like flies.
Wow. That's all right. We still some Jag fans out here. That's all right. Like 4 of us left. But anyway, let's get on down with what's going on. What's going on, Christian? What are we talking about tonight?
So we got breaking news. We got a Supreme Court Justice. This Amy Coney Barrett was confirmed tonight, 52-48. And that's that.
But now 52-48, which means what?
52 Republicans voted for her.
Mm-hmm.
48 Democrats,
mm-hmm.
47 Democrats, plus 1 Republican voted no.
Yeah. But now is that now before we go into that one Republican? This is what trips me out about politics. It's like it's been developed that everybody's supposed to vote for their party down straight party lines. So when we say that 1 Republican voted no, is that because we trained to think that way? Like you should have voted yes just because Republicans are voting yes, and we gonna call you out if you buck the system?
Well, it really, in my personal opinion, it depends on the circumstances surrounding it. She had the person who did not vote for her was Susan Collins, from Maine, and she's a wild card. She's always been a wild card.
Okay.
So when you're looking at the overall information provided concerning Amy Coney Barrett, there was 0 reason why you wouldn't confirm her, unless she had a problem with quote unquote the process, which that's already been I would say debunked, or it's the process was fine. We've had it years past where it's been close to an election. It's been an election season. If she had a problem with the process, and that's where she's coming from. I haven't got a chance to see her statements yet, but that's on her. She voted. She has to deal with her voters, the people who elected her.
Yeah.
She choose to say, you know what, we don't want to be bothered with you no more, and get her up out of there. And they have that right to do that. So you never know. Maybe she got calls from enough of her constituents saying, vote against it. We don't know that.
Yeah, but
her job and her only job is to listen to her constituents. That's it.
Right. Well, no, but not anymore. I mean, she's a Supreme Court justice, so her constituents.
I'm talking about Susan Collins voting.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. That's to her constituents. You're right about that. But I would like to give, I guess, some kind of kudos to the Senate and the presidency. We didn't get too much crap, if you will. At least it wasn't put out too much over getting her confirmed. They had some of the stupid questions, like they were asking her, has she's ever sexually assaulted somebody, and stupid questions like that should go without even saying you're wasting time in order to dig deep and see what she's about to ask those stupid questions. But they felt that's what they need to ask, and it went a lot more smoother than I thought it was going to be. Yeah, but it got done. So
the biggest thing, though, what the Democrats what they can care about is the ACA, gay rights, and guns. So their idea of her is she's going to come in. Almost every question that was posed to her was getting rid of the Affordable Care Act. Because right after the election on November 11th, 12th, there's a California case that's coming up before them about the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, whatever you want to call it. So that's what they're concerned about. So she's being pushed in to get rid of ACA. She's being pushed into, if there's a contestation, Roe v. Wade, my bad. I forgot about Roe v. Wade. ACA, Roe v. Wade, gay right issues, and gun issues. Mm-hmm. Those are the main topics that Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a big champion of all of those. So now that she's gone and this new person's coming on, Mrs. Justice Barrett, now that she was going through the process, they're like, she's going to get rid of she's going to overturn Roe v. Wade. She's going to get rid of this Affordable Care Act. We're going to lose all the gay rights that we fought for. The Second Amendment is going to just be expanded, and people are going to be out here just wild west shooting. Right. So that's their biggest concern. Which again, it's not the court's job to make laws. Their job is to interpret
the laws. But see, the reason why I think they were really pushing her again about the like with the Obamacare is because if a lot of people, I don't know if you noticed it, and I don't know who's out there listening, but when Obama came on and talked about and pushed the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, it was being challenged legally all the way through the courts. When he made his 30-minute commercial talking about Obamacare, he would have been one of the big complaints was that it was a tax, because it was, if you didn't get your Obamacare when you filed your taxes, the IRS would take that money and pay for the insurance that you didn't pay for, that they're making you pay for. So Obama was on TV and saying over and over again, it's not a tax, it's not a tax. But when he put in his briefs up to the Supreme Court, he said it is a tax. And because it's a tax and they have the power to tax, that is why they have the power to make it happen. It's to use the Commerce Clause to say that is a tax. So that's why they worried, because it went all the way up to the Supreme Court justice, and it barely passed that it was not a tax. It was not illegal, which it really was, in my opinion.
It was unconstitutional.
Yes, but if you have the right people on the Supreme Court justice, that interpretation that we're talking about will lean the way towards you want to do. And that's the big deal with presidents. And that's why people need to understand, when you vote for a president, you're not just voting for a president, you're voting for his ability to put Supreme Court justices in office, and they serve for life. They're not impeached. Well, they can be impeached, I should say. They don't have to term out. They don't have to rerun. Once they're in, they quit, they die, they retire. That's pretty much how they do. So what Obama's put in place when he was in office is still sitting on a Supreme Court justice. What Trump has put in now, this is his third Supreme Court justice, is still sitting there. So, and we got a few like that's been on it before. We got some Bush appointees, but as they get older, of course, they cycle through. But these guys stay forever. So Obama's been out of office for 4 years now, almost 4 years. But his Supreme Court justices and his legacy still carries on. That's the same thing with Trump. And that's the reason why they're looking at, okay, what do you really think? When we bring up these Supreme Court situations, when you have a decision, which way you going to lean? If Obama put you in office, we expect you to lean, or suspect and expect in some cases you to lean liberally. Trump's put you in office, we suspect and expect you to lean more conservatively. So it does matter when it comes to decisions, like they're worried about, or like you said, the abortion issue. Is it going to be attacked again, or is it going to be made illegal? Because right now it's legal with the right amount of Supreme Court justices. It could be interpreted that it's unconstitutional. So it's serious when it comes to those aspects of how these Supreme Court justices could change our very way of life. But again, that's the authority that they have, and it is something that we should not take for granted. It's only 9 Supreme Court justices. That means 9 people make the law of the land. We got almost 400 million people.
Interpret the law.
Interpret. We got almost 400 million people, and these 9 people interpret those laws out of 400 million. So it's real important. But go ahead, what you got?
It is. So yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest problems that we have throughout this country when you're talking about the judicial system is we have a lot of activist judges who, instead of interpreting the law, they want to put their personal spin on what the law says or how the law should be based on their personal opinion. You're supposed to look at the facts. You're supposed to look at Constitution, any state laws, any laws that could be possibly violated, and determine, vote up or down on the case based on that. After you hear the arguments from both sides of the aisle, then you rule and make your decision. But you're not getting that from you haven't gotten that over the years from a lot of justices. It's just, this is my opinion. This is what I believe. So this is what the law should say. That's not your job as a judge. Your job isn't to make laws. Your job isn't to write laws. That's the job of the legislature.
Right.
Let them do their job. You do your job.
But if you're trying to get power, if you're trying to push a certain agenda, then you understand that since we have 3 branches, you can't control the 3 branches directly, but you can control them indirectly by putting like-minded people in those positions. And that's how you take over. Yes. Basically, that's how you get Affordable Care Act that's really unconstitutional, but that's how you get it interpreted as constitutional. Right. So these things and it's nothing new. Obama not the first one to do this. Every president that puts in justices, they look for people that think like them. Absolutely. It just makes sense. Absolutely. So, and of course, that's why they were worried about getting this judge in right here. ACB. Get it to me.
ACB.
ACB. I need the acronyms, the alphabet. Not
ACB. Just keep it short.
Yeah, ACB. Just getting her in again. That was an issue with the Democrats, and of course, we know the big issue. They want to hold off and not get a nominee done until after the election, hoping that Joe Biden would win. And of course, ACB would not be in one of those that would be one of Joe Biden's choices. It would be somebody that was more liberal. So they were hoping they could do it, but they didn't have the power to do so. So they lost on that. So here we are.
Blame Harry Reid again. We talked about this in one of the other episodes. It's Harry Reid fault.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, awesome.
Be mad at anybody. Democratic voters want to be mad at anybody. Blame Harry Reid.
Go ahead and break it down.
In 2013,
change the rules. The nuclear option.
He changed that rule to majority vote.
Yep.
And he was told he would regret it, and he's regretting it now. The party is regretting it now. That's why they talk about packing the court. That's why you've been hearing this over and over. Oh, we're going to pack the court. We need 12 more, 13 more Supreme Court justices. Mm-hmm. We need to add to the Supreme Court, because everyone wants to get their people inside there now because they don't want the makeup of the court now. The first thing that after she was confirmed, AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the first thing she tweeted out, we need more Supreme Court justices.
Of course. Of course. Now, see that, and let's go back just in case, make sure everybody understands this. What we're talking about back in 2013, when Barack Obama was president, same situation happened. This is what I was talking about, how the Democrats, Republicans are a lot of the ways the exact same. They complain about something and then go do it the doggone selves.
Right.
So when Barack Obama was president, he was trying to get one of his nominees to be elected. And this is we was 10 months in, and the Republicans screaming, "Oh, you don't have enough time to go through the process," and they kept stalling, and they didn't have the numbers in order to get the confirmation. So you needed 60 votes back then. That was the rule. But Harry Reid, who was the head of the Senate at the time, one of his abilities is to make the rules for the Senate. So he did what was called the nuclear option. And what he did is he changed the rules from having to have 60 votes to get a Supreme Court justice confirmation. He switched it to a simple majority, 50 plus 1. So it went from 60 to 50 plus 1, or 51. And that's how they got the confirmation done. So that's the rules. So now, fast forward to 2020, the rule is still the same. They switched the rules then, and people said, if you do this, you're going to regret it, like Christian just said. But they weren't worried about it at that time. They were just saying, hey, we need to get right now. We'll figure the rest of stuff down the road. And that's what they did. So the rules stayed the same. So now the Republicans who are complaining about the rule in 2013 are now saying, thank you, Harry Reid. You did it. We're going to go ahead and do it as well. So we're going to leave it as a majority. We have enough numbers in the Senate to get it done, and therefore we'll do it. That pretty much right.
Appreciate it. That's what he said. That's what cocaine Mitch. That's what he said. Appreciate
it. So now we have a new Supreme Court justice. That brings us up to 9 Supreme Court justices. Yes. And what Christian was talking about about packing the courts, and you saw this if you looked at any debates, you saw Donald Trump was asking Joe Biden is going to pack the courts. You saw when Pence was asking Kamala Harris if they were going to pack the courts. They were not doing it. I mean, they didn't give that complete answer, because what this packing the courts is basically, we know you're going to get this Supreme Court justice on. We know you got 9. But if Joe Biden becomes president, we'll go ahead and up the number of Supreme Court justices right now, because the Constitution doesn't say you have to have 9. The Constitution just says you have a Supreme Court, and the decision was made to have 9. So you can decide on 7, 17, 35, whatever it's going to be. So if you don't have enough of the type that you like on your side, then you just add some more in until you get what you want. So for example, it's 9 of them. They like to use an odd number, so it won't be a tie. So say you have 6 conservatives and 3, we'll use the word liberal, and 3 liberals. That implies that most of the time something that comes to the Supreme Court is going to have an interpretation on the conservative side. Now, if you're in charge and you're on the liberal side and you want to sway that, instead of having 9 and 6-3, then why don't you make it 15?
Right.
So you can add, you'll say, okay, we need 15 Supreme Court justices now. So we only have 9. That means we're going to add 6 more. And the 6, of course, that you're going to nominate will be more liberal. You try to get those passed. So you have your 6 plus your 3 you already have. You got 9. You now have the lead. And now the understanding would be the interpretation of the laws that are coming through that Supreme Court. Those Supreme Court justices will lean towards liberalism or liberal side. So if that's the case, if we're going to do that, then if the Republicans ever get to office again, what they do? They just gonna up the number again. So we're gonna have 535 Supreme Court justices like we do with the others. So it can't work that way. Now wait a minute, JM Brake says that's short-sighted thinking. All right, type that in, Jim, and JM. I'm sorry, I call you Jim. I apologize. JM Brake. Tell me what is short-sighted thinking. Type that in for me. We'll see what you're talking about and break it down for us.
Well, hopefully he was talking about the short-sighted thinking of Harry Reid.
I don't know. We're gonna find out.
Hopefully he was, because you're having this problem. I wouldn't even necessarily call it a problem. You're having this belly aching and complaining about the number of justices or these justices because of what he did.
Right.
Back in the day, justices go through, they 98-0, 89 to 4. You know what I mean?
Right.
There was a respect level.
Yeah.
That you were judged on their qualifications and they were passed through.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not the case now. If it's come from Donald Trump, the liberals don't want nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
So they have to turn down anything that comes from him.
Yeah, but on the flip side, becoming Joe Biden, conservatives don't want to have anything to do with it.
Well, that's not true because when you look at Atlantic Kagan, you look
Okay.
at Sotomayor, those were liberal justices.
I'm gonna look up and see what the decision was on Sotomayor.
They passed almost overwhelmingly. Overwhelmingly. Even Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed overwhelmingly when she was put up and confirmed. So, you know,
I'm with you. Go ahead.
but we don't live in that time period anymore where there's just people are looking at the qualifications. They're looking at this came from Trump. Trump's bad. Orange man bad. We have to be against it. Period.
Orange man, Cheeto man.
He bad. We have to be against it. We don't want her. Doesn't matter. We don't want him. We don't want any of them, regardless of what their qualifications are. We're not looking at that. We're looking at when they're coming before the confirmation, they're not seeing the individual. They're just looking at Donald Trump, and they're trying to get their venom out on Donald Trump through these individuals. So that's where we're at with that, and that's just ridiculous because we've never had that. We've never had that in the past. It didn't matter which side of the aisle you fell on. When usually when the vote was through the big house, or everybody in the Senate, should I say, once it came to the floor of the Senate, it was usually an overwhelming vote.
Yeah. I'm looking this up. I'm looking at the Sotomayor. This is called according to ProPublica, and it's a Senate vote 262 nomination for Sotomayor. So it says according to this, the Republicans, non-Republicans voted yes, 57 Democrats voted yes, 1 independent voted yes. The no's, 31 Republicans voted no, 0 Democrats voted no, and that's it. So it was still heavily weighted. So you had 9 Republicans that said yes, but of course they had the number to 57. Plus, I'm sure they had the 57 Democrats plus the 9 plus the 2, which puts them over the 68 number. But it was still heavily slanted.
Oh, yeah, it pushed them over the 60 number, but she wasn't berated. She wasn't badgered. None of them were. They weren't berated, badgered.
Now, one thing too.
You had Republicans vote. Still have Republicans voted for them because they looked at the individual and are they capable of doing the job? Are they the type of person that will actually look at the law and vote based on the law? And that's just what it was.
Yeah,
you're not having that now.
Right. Okay, but one thing too. Now, I think that the reason why she wasn't badgered so much because she's a minority woman, and then they'll scream racism. Now, you can beat up on a white man all you want. You can say anything about him, call him anything but a child of God, and that's supposed to be okay. White boys are supposed to take this.
I guess so.
I guess so. So it's you know that it ain't right, but it's just I think that's part of it too because you can't just you know white men are just taking the heat now. So enough of that.
So that's the big news, breaking news of the day. We got ourselves a new Supreme Court justice, and we will see how it goes. Hopefully, she, which I believe she will judge the law based on the law and based on the Constitution. And I think that she will do that. I don't think she will be an activist judge. You still can never know with people,
right?
I don't believe she will be. So we'll just have to see how it goes.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. Okay, all right. Let's get on. What's the next on the hot plate? What we got going on?
We're talking about while we're on the subject of Supreme Court justices, we talk about Joe Biden and what we talk about to go ahead and get to the campaign. So we're looking at Joe Biden's talking about putting together a commission to look at the courts and to give them 6 months to give him recommendations on changes. So it's part of he's not calling it a court packing, but it's one of those things where you're talking about changing the structure of the court. So he wants to put a commission together and give them 6 months to actually look and see what are some of the things that could do. Of course, he said it's going to be bipartisan. It's going to be Republicans and Democrats, but he hasn't even told us, shown us a list of any of the justices that he would put up if he was to win the election. So we don't know what this commission is going to be about. But if my estimation is, it's about packing the courts. That's it. And with their current campaigning, the Biden Kamala's been in Jacksonville. Trump has been doing crazy amount of rallies. He's doing 2. He did 3 today. He's doing like 2 to 3 a day over the last week and a half. So, bruh, I don't know where he get his energy from. He's just coming off COVID, and we can't get Biden out of the basement.
Okay,
can't get him out of the basement.
Well, that's where he might need to be.
It may be, because every time he comes out, he has some type of gaffe, and he makes some type of boo-boo, makes some type of mistake that you just scratch your head. You think to yourself, like, something's wrong with him. He's losing it. He needs to. They need to. It's elder abuse at this point.
Elder abuse.
That's what it's coming down to, is elder abuse. It's the craziest thing watching him just talk and how forgetful he is. And we, Father Time undefeated.
Yeah. Father
Time is undefeated.
Yeah.
I said when he picked Kamala was that she is the ticket. She is the ticket. He will only, if he does win, he does a year, no more than a year before he resigns and she takes over.
Yeah.
No more than a year.
Okay. Well, then that's what we got to worry about then, or I shouldn't say worry about. That's what we had to think about it, consider. If you like it, then that's what you're looking for. But for the rest of it, then if she's going to go ahead and be the president, she needs to go ahead and campaign like the president, so we can hear what she's got to say, as opposed to her saying, "I'm going to do what Joe Biden wants to do."
Right. So, like one of the videos, like what's that? Go ahead and play the clip that we have.
Let's see. All right. Which one?
Hey, pick one. I mean, we had one was from 2 days ago. One was from yesterday. The one where he was talking about the voter fraud.
Okay. Let me get that loaded. But keep going. You guys, this is your
I mean, it's like, what are you talking about?
The voter fraud, most extensive voter fraud.
Voter fraud. It's like, somebody get this guy some more rest, or have him drop out. His wife should have been pulled the plug on this a long time ago. He done said at least 2 to 3 times in campaign speeches that he's running for the U.S. Senate. Like, really?
Yes. Yeah. But I mean, he's done that for a while. So he's he's got 47 years saying I'm running for Senate. Or I should say 47 years. But, he's got 47 years as a senator.
Well, he ain't got that long as a senator.
What you mean?
He got 8 years with Obama as VP. He got several years as a, senator. He's been in office for a minute, but still, though, he had a point where he needed to relax, enjoy his grandkids, and just chill. He done messed up how many grandchildren he got.
All right.
Occasions.
All right. Well, here he is, just again blessing us with another Joe Bidenism. Here we go.
Secondly, we're in a situation where we have put together, and you guys did it for the President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics. Secondly,
all right, extensive voter fraud. Maybe he was trying to say the a task force for to look into voter fraud, and just worded it wrong, because that was, again, just all fairness, that was just a clip, and you got to talk to his people to see how they were going to clean it up for him.
If was a fifth.
If was a fifth, you'll be drunk.
We all be drunk. Listen, it wasn't like somebody was throwing questions at him. He was sitting there looks like he was sitting there reading a speech or reading some prepared statements. So
right.
You're reading these prepared statements and you're looking down. Where in the world on your form on your sheet does voter fraud come in?
See, I don't.
Those words should never come out of your mouth. If you're a candidate, we put together some great voter fraud. Like, really?
Hey, they've been. I don't know what to tell you, but again, this is Joe Biden, and it could happen. It could happen.
But why can it happen though?
He could say the wrong thing.
Because he's at a point in his career where, like I said, he should be enjoying his children, his grandchildren, and he should be relaxing somewhere. He look at the 20 candidates that was up there. While I would have never voted for any of them, I think there were better choices than Joe Biden. And he was dying in South Carolina before Jim Clyburn came out and said, "You Negroes better go vote."
Yeah.
Before that, he was dead in the water. He was trailing. He wasn't doing good. So I have no idea where how all of a sudden he just took the lead and took it by storm, and he wasn't the best. He wasn't the best that they had to offer. There's no way he was the best that they had to offer.
Do you think they rigged it again?
Of course they rigged it against Bernie. Of course they did. And I think a lot of Bernie bros are gonna sit out during this election. They're certainly not gonna vote for Trump. They may out of spite, but you know what I mean. They're not going to bat for Joe Biden, and I don't think they're going to turn out for Joe Biden. And I think that's a part of the Bernie bros are like the never Trumpers.
Yeah,
they're done. They don't want no part of them. We ain't messing with you. We ain't rocking with you. You ain't for us. Those are the Bernie bros as related to Biden. So we'll see. We will see. We will see.
All right. Now, Tammy Perry says we need age limits for presidential candidates. All right, Tammy, if you say we need age limits, what limit would you put on there? And why? So let me know that. I'm curious about that. Because what do you think about the age limits?
I can kind of understand that because you're dealing with, you're the leader of the free world.
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of responsibility. You got a lot of things happening, a lot of things going on. You need to be able to have that cognitive ability to process information quickly,
right?
Process information without hesitation, without any type of issue that may arise because of your health. And like I said, Father Time is undefeated. You can't beat Father Time.
You ain't gonna get that. You're gonna lose that. You might be able to fight longer than somebody else,
sir.
But it's all said and done.
It's time to call it a day. It's time to call it a day. Just relax and go on about your business. But
and I think Joe knows he's too old, and Donald Trump is too old for me as well. But I think that Joe is pushing it because he's been wanting this presidency for a minute. He wanted it. Now we're at that 4-8. It's the third presidency. That is because he ran against Barack Obama the first time. He lost that and became the vice president. So that's 4 years in, and then Obama won again. So that's 8 years down. Trump won, so he's 12 years down. So if Trump runs again, that'll be 16 years. There's no way that he could ever run again. So I think he's just going for it. I think he knows he's too old, but I think he's like, what I got to lose? If I kill over and die, oh well. We got somebody can take over, but I'm going to do my thing and try and do something that I've always wanted to do, which is be president. So I think that's what it is. Because okay. Tammy says 66. I can roll with that, Tim. I can roll that. Tammy says 66 might be the max age. And that's a quick thing. Tammy, that's 66 to the max age you can be, or the max age you can be when you run. Because if you run at 66 and you win, you go again at 70. And if you win again, you're at 74. Would that be it? Or at 66, whatever you're doing, your time is up? So that's a good question. That's a good question. And how many guys out there, if you got to chime in on that with the age limits, what do you think it should be and why? And are you saying that 66, your mind is not sharp enough to be a president, to handle the rigors that come to presidency? And the funny thing about this, we really don't know all the things that a president goes through, because that's a small club right there. Right now, that presidency crew is Donald Trump, Barack Obama, George Bush, and Carter's still alive, right? Yeah, Carter's still alive, but he's not doing too well, is he?
No, he's doing well. He's 90-some years old, but he
had some troubles. But so we got Carter,
some health issues, but
So we got about 4 people in this world that are part of that group that have actually sat in that Oval Office and called a shot. So one, we got to take a hat off to him, because you can see what and Bill Clinton. I'm sorry, we got Bill Clinton. I'm gonna leave by Bill Clinton, but we see what that stress does to him, because you see Bill Clinton looked like he put on 16 years and 8. Barack Obama, his hair got very gray. and it's got to be a stressful job. I don't envy it. And again, I take my hat off. Even if I don't like your politics, I take my hat off to you because you got to stress every day. They're telling you somebody's trying to kill Americans, and you got to make the right decision to stop them. And
yeah, you know, you're right, and I agree with what Tammy said. She was like, max age 66. They served 2 terms and they're out at 74. I can dig that. That does sound logical, does sound reasonable. But then, you know, you got some spry 70-year-old that want to run. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they want to run.
Now it's like, you know, that's hurting our elders.
Yeah,
you can't tell them they can't work. You can't tell them they can't serve their country.
No. You can't. No, nobody said you can't work. Tammy said you couldn't work. She said you can't be president. Well, I mean, maybe you can be the aid to the president. You can be a presidential advisor. Maybe you could chief of staff. You know what I'm saying?
That's the ultimate job. You know, we got a lot of still got a lot of wise older people out there. I won't say old folks, older people out there that's, you know, 60s, 70s, you know what I mean, 80s and 90s. They're still sharp. They still can, you know, kick it with the best of them.
Right.
So I think that's where the voters come in.
Yeah.
And that's where the voters have to look at the mistakes that these candidates are making, like a Joe Biden, and how he was talking about. He was calling. Think he's still running. You think he running against George Bush?
Yeah,
you know, he did that video too. Yeah, he talked about he running against George. Like,
and his wife was trying to tell him, "Hey,"
and this was like a day ago.
I'll pull that up. Keep going. I'm gonna pull it up. Everybody see it.
Yeah. So you know, so when you're looking at when the voters are looking at him, they have to be able to weigh that and say he's making too many mistakes, mental mistakes, stuff that he should know. We all make mistakes when we're public speaking or just speaking in general. We may lose our train of thought for a second, but you know, it's more prevalent in individuals at a certain age. So as a voter, you have to be able to count and look and say, this is just one too many. I can't vote for this guy. This guy is not going to be functioning once he gets into the position in there for a year and a half.
Right.
So, you know, we certainly can't, as a voter, you certainly have to make sure that you are looking at the candidates' physical appearance, how they speak. I mean, y'all look at how Trump speak. I should be looking at how other people speaking as well, whether or not they actually speaking in terms.
Okay, you're gonna look at all of them.
We need to
look at all of them.
Yes, sir. So, and Mr. Olivier from France. What's going on, France? We appreciate y'all watching us over there. Watching us over in France.
Yeah, we got some. Let me get that going. Let me
so
post it.
What is in the right eyes of Biden? It looks like he's probably, I think honestly, it's a blood clot, some type of, he may I won't say aneurysm, but I ain't no doctor or nothing. I play one on live,
TV.
But you know, maybe it's a blood clot, busted vessel. I don't know. Picking up his grandkids, who knows? But I think his wife, she should have been pulled the plug on him running for office around the South Carolina primary time frame. Like, you know what? You're behind. You need to move on.
Yeah. All right. I got it queued up. Let's take a look. And
this was like a day ago.
Oh, that's true, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Let me put it over here. Let me blow it up so everybody can see it. This is again Joe Biden.
Bigger.
And I'm gonna make it big so everybody can see it. Here we go. Listen up.
I can't hear it.
You can't hear it?
Yeah.
We're going with my audio. Hold on 1 second then. I'll pull it back one more time for everyone. The audio didn't kick on.
Yeah, Tammy, I do agree with you. About 18 months. I would say maybe 9 months to 18 months is all he would serve if he was actually able to win. And the voters, you're not really voting for the vice president. Even the last a couple of interviews that he's done, he's called it the Biden-Harris administration. She's called it the Harris-Biden administration. He's called it the Harris-Biden administration. Her husband, Kamala's husband, has called it the Harris-Biden administration. So
yeah,
what's really going on behind?
maybe it really is, right? Let's take a look. Let's see what this guy's got to say.
It really is.
Yeah. All right. I got it queued up now. Hopefully it'll work this time. Those internet don't always do what it wants to do, but let's see it.
4 more years of George.
How we sound?
George, he is going to find ourselves in a position where, if Trump gets elected, we're going to be in a different world. 4 more years of George. George, he is going to find ourselves in a position where, if Trump gets elected, this is the most consequent. Not because I'm running, but because who I'm running against. This is the most consequential election in a long time. And the character of the country, in my view, is literally on the ballot. What kind of country we're going to be? 4 more years of George. George, he 4 more years of George. George, he is going to find.
So I want to make sure.
Of course.
I want to make sure y'all saw those lips moving. And
Oh,
so
lips, yeah, she looked like she was mumbling Trump. So, of course, the media, CNN, Brian Stelter, what's his name? Jake Tapper. He was talking about George Lopez. Are you serious?
okay.
What does George Lopez have to do with anything?
He's an important political figure. We all voted him in office. Maybe he's a senator somewhere.
Was he being interviewed by George Lopez? Was the guy who interviewed him named George Lopez? And he lost his train of thought. He was saying George. I
don't know.
The media quickly jumped out to defend him, saying that people are making a big deal out of it. He was talking about George Lopez. George Lopez ain't been the president.
He ain't been a senator. He ain't been a city councilman. He ain't been a community organizer.
And he stopped being a comedian a while ago.
Yeah, so I don't know, but I can't speak for George. Can't speak for any of them. But that's what it is.
Applegate, you're 100% right. I think it's early on stage dementia.
All right. Now we don't want to be we ain't gonna be the George Bush bashers. What else we got there? What can y'all say? Tell me something. This is what I want to get real with. This is what I want to shoot some videos on sometime. Got to be like super sooner later on. We got to be real sooner than later. Just got to find a time. But how many people that like George Bush? I mean, you got me saying George Bush now. He done rubbed off on me. That's a subliminal message. That boy George Biden. Wow. See, hey, maybe I'm 77 too. All right, well, 66. Tabby go cut it at 66. But how many people that like Joe Biden are really willing to stand up and give the criticism of Joe Biden? How many people that like Donald Trump are willing to stand up and criticize Donald Trump, whatever it is? And the reason I'm asking that, because I think that not enough people are doing that. In effect, that when whoever's going to win, one of them's going to win, then the criticisms that they have should be, or people have for them, especially by their own party, I think they should address them, because it would only make them stronger.
Right.
And they should also listen to the criticisms from the other side, because it would only make them stronger. And that's one of the problems I got with Donald Trump. I said it before, as he sits and says that he's the best candidate and he's the best man for everything, then I need you to shut up, so we can hear what you got to say, so we can hear what Joe Biden has to say, and then people can actually understand that you got the best ideas and we can go ahead and vote for you. But you keep running your mouth and you're turning people away. So since you claim I and I alone have all the answers, then do what it takes to become the president to keep the vote. But I guess maybe you think that this worked last time, it's going to work this time. I don't know, Christian. I still think they'll win, but I'm surprised at the record number of people that have turned up so far. At least in Florida, they said 1/3 of the registered voters have already voted for the early election. This is way above what we had in the last election. I think it's like twice.
Yeah, so you
don't know how they vote. I don't know how they vote, but they're showing up.
Yeah, the general election so far, we're looking at 62 million early votes already. 41 million through mail-in and 20 million in person. They said we had 2016 total. We had 135 million people voted. So we're already at 62 million already votes cast. Do I think it's going to? I don't think it's going to be higher than last time. I don't think turnout is going to be higher.
So you think it's just going to poop out when it comes down to the general election? It's going to fade away.
I think it's going to be around the exact same numbers, 135, maybe 137 million. It's not going to be no exorbitant. We're going to do 15, 20 million over what we saw in 2016. I don't believe that at all. So I think
you don't think so? I think we're going to have a greater turnout.
You think so?
I think we're gonna have a greater turnout. Yeah, I think so. Just because this is it, and I hope I could be wrong because people might be just scared because of COVID, that they want to go ahead and get it early. But I think we're gonna have a better turnout, which I hope we do. And again, I'm kind of drawn out. The older I get, the little grouchier I get, and I'm less tolerant of dumb stuff and stupid stuff. Right. And the fact that we run around every 4 years begging people to vote, begging people to sign up and tell them how important it is, that should already be done. That should be taught in our schools. That should be reinforced in our society. We ought to understand how the political process works and understand how these decisions that are made on a federal level, the state level, the local level, especially local level, we know is more important, how they affect us. So people should not have to be begging somebody else to vote. Folks should already be lined up. These candidates should not have to spend all these millions and millions of dollars to shove their information down our throats. We should be logging on to their website, breaking the internet, trying to see them and hear what they have to say. But instead, they got to pay all these millions to steal some spots, commercial spots on our favorite TV shows because the average American says, oh, it doesn't matter to me. It just gets on my nerves.
Well, see, you have a lot of people who say it doesn't matter to me, it doesn't affect me. People are going to do what they want to do anyway, blah, 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 blah. And you have a lot of people who are engaged in the political process and become disillusioned with it, disillusioned with the candidates, with the parties. So they don't just want to be bothered anymore. So, you have a lot of people coming back who were registered to vote 10, 15 years ago, haven't voted in a long time, maybe moved. So now they come along and they're being asked to vote again. So you have to continuously do that. I see where you're coming from, but when you have so many voters out there who are mad at the system, no longer want to be involved with the system, and then you have some candidates that come along and say, you know what, I'm going to be different. Then they change their mind and need to register to vote again. So you got to keep pushing that registration to vote.
I say push it for 18. You 30-something years old and you ain't never voted for it. Shaquille O'Neal said it's the first time he voted.
Yeah.
You saw that? Boy, you dang near 50 years old. You dang near 50 years old. And you sitting here with all this money, with all this influence, all this power, and all the stuff you do, and you gonna say now this the first time you voted? Shame on you. But again, it's your right not to vote. I'm just disappointed. Because again, you're a citizen, you ain't gotta vote. But just to come out and say it's the first time, wow. I'm just disappointed. That's all I can say.
No, I'm with you. It happens. So the numbers are looking. The numbers to me are looking kind of like where they were last year, 2016. So me personally, I don't see a large jump from 2016's 134 million. I just don't. Okay. 138 million in 2016, rough estimate. I don't see that. I don't see it being no more than 138, maybe 140. So, because you're going to have a lot of people that are going to sit home. You're going to have a lot of people who just don't want to be bothered with the chaos and nonsense. But you're 100% right, though. Part of the problem is voters don't hold politicians accountable.
Mm-hmm. That's the other part.
On either side of the aisle. So it's easy to become angry and bitter and mad at the candidates and mad at the parties. But if you're not holding these politicians accountable for what they're promising, for what they're saying they will do, or what they're saying they're not going to do, and they change their mind when they get into office, the best way to hold them accountable is get them up out of there.
Yeah.
For re-election next go round. Don't wait for them. Honestly, we see that here in Jacksonville a lot.
Yeah.
Too much. Too much. well, I had to do this because such and
Mhm.
such, and I had no, you didn't. You said you
Mhm.
was going to do X, Y, and Z. Do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah,
Period.
yeah. And
Period.
especially something so important. But look, Joe said, just think next Wednesday it'll be all over except for the counting and the recounting. I agree. On next Tuesday, well, Super Tuesday's coming up. That's when everybody votes. But that's when the last day is. I should have vote to cast your regular vote.
Right.
But I do believe that no matter what happens, that whoever wins, whoever loses, they're gonna want to recount. Whoever loses, they're gonna be screaming something's wrong. So
Yes.
I firmly believe. I was talking to my friend today, Brian, on the phone. I firmly believe that each side's got their attorneys already have their briefs written up with the complaints. They having just different sections. They having different folders of what happened to the election, to what they're going to respond to. Oh, this area, the polls shut down too early. They already got a brief written up. They're just going to open that box and send it on up and get it out to the news media. The numbers, the numbers are just too close. We got to recount. Here's the Supreme Court decisions or whatever's going to be behind that. I think they have everything already queued up and ready to go. They just going to release whichever happens, whichever's appropriate to what's going on. And it's sad. And let me see something.
I think Trump wins. Trump was going to win this on election night.
You think he's going? I think he's going to win on election. I think he's going to get the votes election night.
70.
I don't think
70 on election night.
We'll see. We'll see.
The reason why I say that is because Biden, his comment during the debate about oil.
Oh yeah. He cooked himself with that.
If you're looking at Trump's rallies now, he's doing the smart thing. He doesn't have to stand up there at the podium and say, Joe Biden said this, Joe Biden said that. He's playing video of Joe Biden saying it. So now the media can't say, well, it was taken out of context. Trump was lying and making up stuff. He's playing the videos at his rally.
Yeah.
He's got a big screen, big
jumbotron, big jumbotron. Yeah.
Big jumbotron.
And he's like, cue it up.
Own words.
Yeah.
Saying these things.
Yeah.
So now only thing Biden can do is say, well, I've changed my mind since then.
Yeah.
So then it becomes, were you lying then or are you lying now?
And who are you? What do you really stand for?
What do you really stand for?
Yeah.
So
you got to be on solid ground.
Exactly. So he loses Pennsylvania. He loses Ohio. He certainly loses Oklahoma. And if people thought he was close in Texas, which I don't think Biden was close in Texas, he damn sure losing Texas. You're not getting rid of those industries. I mean, you talking about getting rid of the oil, and phasing out, transitioning away from oil. What are we going to do with our jets?
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to do with our warships? What are we going to do with cars, buses?
They already have some kind of special. They got one on wind power.
I guess so.
Solar power.
All our aircraft's going to have just no jet propulsion.
Solar power, man. Solar power.
Everything's solar power. I guess so.
Yeah. And look at this. This is what D says. D says America doesn't need a leader who would bend over and take everything. Whew. If he wasn't such a strong leader and attached over every little thing, I would say he should be nicer. Okay. All right. So D chiming in. Appreciate that, D. True that. Let's see. Doris says, what's Doris say? Doris Wilson needs to speak. Okay. Okay.
Tell us what's on your mind, Ms. Doris.
Right. Right. Well, we're not gonna do a long show tonight, so we're not gonna share the call-in number. So if you would just go ahead and type in what you want to type, and then we'll take it from there.
And Dennis Applegate said human power, yeah, Flintstone style.
The Flintstones, they're gonna have little feet, Flintstone feet. They're gonna be pelling. The wings gonna flap. The wings gonna flap in the air. Okay, just checking.
Yeah, man.
But let's be equal opportunity hater. Let's beat up on Trump a little bit now. Let's beat up on Trump. Put your gloves on. Tell me something. I want one of you guys on here that are Trump supporters. I only want a Trump supporter because I know you ones that don't support Trump. Y'all got plenty to say. I want a Trump supporter to be honest and say something that they do not like about Trump. Not personality, policy-wise. Tell me if you're bold enough to do that. And if no one on the Trump supporter can do that, then I'll take some of you.
I'm kind of irritated with the whole the debt. The debt hasn't gone down.
Oh my God. I'm glad you said it. I'm gonna show you guys.
That irritates the world out of me. He talked about dropping the debt during his time in office, and it's going up. We've done a lot of spending, but that's that's Congress. That no one in there's no such thing as fiscal conservatism at all.
Yeah.
No one has it. No one cares about bringing down the deficit. Everyone just, when I get my time in office, I'm spin.
Yeah.
So that has certainly irritated me as a person who voted for him.
Yep.
Good.
Well, let me show you this because I'm glad you said that. I'm gonna show you guys. If you're not familiar with the national debt clock, I want to show you this. I talk about this at least when I was teaching civics and government. Now I talk about the national debt clock and let my students take a look at it. But I'm gonna show it to you guys right now. If you're looking at a screen now, this is the national debt clock. You can pull it up. You can just type in U.S. National debt clock and bada boom, bada bing, it'll pop up. Let me explain to you what's going on with this. Up here in the top left-hand corner, you see the U.S. national debt is $27,137,129,000,000, and you see the numbers are moving as we speak. That is the actual national debt increasing as we speak. $27 trillion. We're at the point that this money cannot be repaid. And this is why I say sometimes, or I say a lot, that it seems like our country is being sabotaged by our leadership, because Donald Trump, as a businessman, he knows good and well this can't be paid. He ran it up this high. When Barack Obama ran it up high, they know this cannot be paid. This is the debt per citizen, $82,099 per citizen. Now look right next to it. It says debt per taxpayer. $217,612. What's the difference between a citizen and a taxpayer? The taxpayer is the one that pays federal income tax. Since you see that number is more than almost 3 times greater, that's basically letting you know that 3 times the people don't pay taxes and pay taxes, a little less than 3. But you see the numbers that let you know that most people, or a big chunk of the people, do not pay federal income tax. So they're not including that. So if you are a federal income tax payer, in order to get us out of debt, you would need to pay the government $217,612 and counting. That is the U.S. national debt right there. Take a look at it when you get some time. You can click on this, and right here where it says state debt clocks, you can go to your state. You can see how well your governor's doing. All those different things you can see. If you look right here, and I'm gonna wrap it up. In 1960, the debt was 52%, 52.28. Then in 1980, the debt percent went up to 34.68. In 2000, 55.85. Now it's 137.25%. We owe 37.25% more than all we have. What do you think the interest on that is?
A ton.
Exactly. The interest on that is not going to be paid. And again, that's why I talk about, y'all might think I'm crazy, the New World Order. You have to find a way to pay this. And the only way we can do it is to wipe all the debt, restructure the government to a new world type organization in which no debt exists, and we can do better commerce between the two. But you look at George Bush, the first was talking about it, Ronald Reagan was talking about it, George Bush was talking about it, the first one, the second one talked about it, Bill Clinton talked about it, Barack Obama talked about it. I don't know if Trump has talked about it or not. I haven't looked that up yet. Well, at least I looked at it, but I didn't see it. The New World Order. And even George Bush the first said, and we will get there. In order to have a new world order, what you got to do with the first world order? You got to destroy it. How you destroy it? First of all, you destroy the banking. You destroy the religion. You destroy the banking. You destroy the religion. You make people dependent. Once you break them down so much, they will be begging for you to come through with some kind of help. Destroy the healthcare plan. Destroy everything. Destroy the money. You see how much money is being printed. I can show you that as well. The money's being printed is out of this world, which drives down the dollar. It drives down the dollar, gives us inflation. So the money is worth less, and our lifestyles get worse, and people gonna come begging. So we have to really, really pay attention to who is in office. Again, look at that number, 27 trillion, and the number is counting. All right.
And that's because the Congress will not do balanced budgets. Every family has to do one. Most single folks, families, they have to balance, they have to budget the money that they have. The government won't do that, and the citizens won't force them to. Mm-hmm. So it's just, that's why you see $3 million to learn the mating habits of dung beetles.
Yeah.
You see $600,000 to teach Afghanistan people how to speak Afghanistan.
Yeah, or they got studies that's spending money to see how alcohol affects the prostitutes. I think in Canada or somewhere. It's like, are you serious?
Yes.
Well, yeah, like what? Why y'all gonna ship in some new ones for your boys? I mean, what is that? You're looking for your new vacation? Is that what it is? You're trying to see what's going on?
Senator Rand Paul, every year he does the pork
barrel spending.
Pork barrel spending, and it just lists. You just see just this, and it's not Republican, it's not Democrat. It's both of them.
Both of them, exactly.
Dumb, unnecessary spending on unnecessary things year after year after year after year. And the taxpayer funds it all.
Yeah.
That's why when you have organizations and you have parts of the government that says, well, you're trying to defund us. I'm okay with that. It's not your money. It's taxpayer money.
Mm-hmm.
No taxpayer, no organization, no department who gets taxpayer dollars should expect to get the exact same amount every year. That's why you see the budgets balloon the way they do.
Yeah.
Because they're expecting to get that money. Why are you expecting to get that money?
Because you want it.
Because you want it.
Yeah.
You need it. It's because you want it. And you want to hold it in the reserve. And like we talked about, I think it was like the second or third episode, I was in the Navy 20 years. When September 1st rolled around before the fiscal year, we was BMF, baby. We was blowing money fast on the stupidest, dumbest things we did not need. So that way, when the fiscal year rolled around, we made sure we got the exact same money, if not more. Because it's like, if you don't spend the money, then you don't need the money. And that's what's going on with these organizations. It doesn't matter if it's a state level, a local level, or the federal level. When you have these organizations, they're expecting to get $22 million the next year. So they're going to make sure the $22 million they got this year, they make sure they blow it all.
Mm-hmm.
Or they spend it on some important things and the rest of it is just wasted. And there's no accountability. There's no politician. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. There is no politician in office that's really trying to hold people accountable. You may have your onesies and your twosies here and there, but on a grand scale, they're all the same. They don't care whether or not the money is spent, how the money is spent. There's zero accountability from members of in public office.
And that's what comes into your thought processes. Again, they know the debt better than we do. They see it. They know what it's going to be when they pass these budgets and they send the stimulus money, everything they do. They know the numbers are going up, and they know this debt is not going to be repaid. So even doing so, and you know that it's going to eventually wreck our economy, how do they reconcile doing it anyway? Because aren't they a part of the system? So if you are doing that, then I think that they must have an out. They must have something else that they have going on to where the crash, the inflation that's coming is not going to affect them. Because I'm thinking, who in their right mind would do something that's going to hurt themselves and who they love?
All right.
But to keep doing this, as you said, without any accountability for all these years, we haven't had a balanced budget. I should say balanced, but we haven't been out of debt since Andrew Jackson in the 1830s. Andrew Jackson got the U.S. out of debt by the Louisiana Purchase. And that was the only time we got out of debt, or the last time I should say we got out of debt. Ever since then, we've been running in the hole. And it just grows and grows and grows. And now we have the situation going with the baby boomers taking money out of the stock market. We have all these we got illegal aliens coming in that people want to pay for. We got a lot of folk that just aren't have jobs or skills. They want to, all kind of things that come to, that are part of a destruction of a society. Historically speaking, if you look at societies that crash, a lot of the things that are happening are what cause these other societies to crash. And I can read about it in the history books. I'm sure they know about it too. That's why I asked myself, why are you guys doing this when it's already said what's going to happen when you do these things?
Right.
It's like saying if you get exposed to asbestos, you could get cancer. Don't sit there and breathe in asbestos all day long and be like, I'm not going to get cancer. No, there's a precedence behind it. It is proven that if you do, you can get cancer. You got a great likelihood of getting a certain type of lung cancer. The only way you can get it is with this asbestos. So don't come now and say we're going to run the deficit too high to where it can't be paid. We're going to destroy the economy. We're going to tax the businesses and the structure that makes money out the yin yang, and that's supposed to somehow going to bring money back into the coffers. It's going to make people hire. It's going to make businesses stay here and keep people in Americans employed. It doesn't work that way.
No,
but here we are doing it.
It's like I said, the average individual has to balance their budget. Have to balance their finances. If not, they're gonna be broke before payday.
Yes.
They out there flashing wads of cash and eating at McDonald's and eating at fast food restaurants. And then, you know what I'm saying, a week before payday, they're like, damn, I'm struggling.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta put gas in my car to make sure I get to work. I'm gonna be eating oodles and noodles and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for the next week till I get paid again. That's the government.
Yeah.
That is the federal government right there. They're not. They've never been in a part of the citizenry that has actually cared about spending, and that's why every bill that goes up in Congress that's a appropriations bill should be its own bill.
Yeah.
If you want the taxpayers funded money, you need to argue why the taxpayers should be funding $2 million to study the mating habits of dung beetles.
Yeah.
On the grand scheme of things, you talking about a $1 trillion budget. You saying, "Oh, $2 million ain't really nothing." Oh, that adds up.
Exactly.
That adds up when you start adding, all kinds of money. And so then you have the Congressional Budget Office, the CBO.
Mm-hmm.
What they do is they project out. So, for example, you look at military spending, for example. They'll say last year military spending, we spent $785 billion. This upcoming year, we should spend $815 billion to keep up. What does Congress say? What do people say? They should get the money. That's just a projecting. That doesn't mean you should get the money. That's a projection. So when you have people saying that you should not give them that money, then they say you're cutting programs or you're cutting funding. That's not how that works. And people have gotten away with making that argument. The same thing with social programs.
Mm-hmm.
Last year they got $100 million, and next year they should get 120, but we're only going to give them 105. Oh, you're cutting funding. That's not how that works. That means they're not getting a projected amount, and it's just a projected amount. It doesn't mean that that's something that they should get. And you can't get people on either side of the aisle, social programs with the liberals, military with the conservative side, to actually understand that. It's not your money. It's the taxpayers' money. And until we get out of this concept of this belongs to us and this money belongs to the people in Washington, D.C.,
mm-hmm.
money that's coming from the individuals in these states and these taxpayers, you're going to always have this problem.
I agree. Anybody else want to chime in on that? We got it. Let's see. D said it's going to take it. It's going up thanks to the shutdowns. So D's talking about these shutdowns. That's why this money is going up. She says when the governors close the economy, people should get paid. All the extras can go too. Many bipartisan, all the others can go too. There are too many bipartisan legislations. I give you that. I agree with that. Let's see.
Yeah, I agree with that to a certain extent because the government did shut down. The government did shut down these cities, these states. So they should pay the citizens an amount of money. You're stopping them from working.
Yeah.
They're not stopping themselves from working. You're stopping them from working. So you have to subsidize that by giving them something to either hold them over so they can get back up on their feet. So yes, absolutely, to a degree though, but hasn't been the case over the last 100 years. That's just the case. This is new.
Yeah,
this is new.
See, this is crazy. I think that, and as Joe said, we Joe says these programs are these entitlement programs, but in order to fix this, I think what we have to do is we really have to tighten our bootstraps. If we're going to keep this country, I don't know if we're going to last another 25 years or so, honestly. I think in order for us to do so, we're really going to have to tighten our bootstraps. We're going to have to maybe step down on our standard of living, and we're going to have to. I think we need to cut out some of the spending that we give in these foreign countries. That's the first thing.
Absolutely. Listen,
we're going to have to cut out the foreign aid.
Christian Whitfield says defund everybody.
Everybody.
Everybody. I don't care what country you are. I don't care how long you've been down with us. Defund everybody. This is how it works. When you come to the United States and ask for taxpayer-funded money, you should lay out your request as to why you need the money, and we let you know you're going to get, if we do give you this money, you good for the next 3 to 5 years. Don't come back and ask us. But when you do come back and ask us, we need another plan, and we need to know where the money that we did give you, we need an accounting of where that money went.
Mm-hmm.
That's not happening. People just show up, countries just show up, hand out, U.S., sure, here you go. No questions asked.
Yeah.
No questions asked. The taxpayer don't know where this money's going to or anything of that nature. So I say defund everybody. I don't care what country you are. Defund every country. Every country. You got to come back every 3 to 5 years to get money from the United States if you want money from the taxpayers of the United States.
Right.
And if you don't come back, that means you must not need the money.
Makes sense to me.
So,
I can't argue that.
But yeah, just giving countries money just for the sake of giving them money to, yeah. And of course, we're not talking about, we're talking about helping countries out. Sure, help out countries that are in need, famine, pestilence, issues of that nature. They're having problems with their running water. That's not what we're talking about. Because on top of actual money that we give them, we also give them money in the form of supplies, money in the form of military training and military aid. That's still money that we are still spending. It may not be the cash that we're giving them, but it's still money that we are sending to them. Like when we send our, when we do exercises with the South Korean Navy or the Thai Navy, that's us spending money. Australian Navy, that's us still spending money to given. It's not necessarily going to them, but it's money that we're spending for them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So even that needs to be curtailed and be checked out. So yeah, I say defund everybody. I don't care.
Shut it down, huh?
Shut it down. We broke. That's what we need to come out. We broke. We ain't got no money.
That's it.
We can't help you.
Well, we carried you long enough. Well, you're good. Good luck. Nothing personal, but we gotta. It's just anything else. If your house is struggling with bills, you can't pay your own mortgage, but you're used to hooking your friend up. You're like, look, friend, I can't do it no more. I got my own mortgage to pay. I got to keep a roof over my head. And your friend, I'll be like, hey, I understand. I need to get on my own 2 feet. I need to do what I need to do, and that's that.
You better come back in 3 to 5 years, and maybe we can talk then. I may be doing a little bit better then.
But the only thing we got to do, and this the funny thing too, as we look at we look at Donald Trump was on 60 Minutes last night, and so was Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, Pence. One thing when they asked Donald Trump who our biggest competitor is, our biggest enemy, he said he thinks it's China.
It is.
But the funny thing is, if China is our biggest enemy, why do we keep borrowing money from China? Why do we keep doing business with China? Why do we keep sharing things with China if they are your enemy?
Well,
that's what I don't understand.
Things.
Go ahead, break it down for me.
Enemy and a competitor is two different things. We may be for different markets throughout the world, and we know that the Chinese have been stealing a lot of our intellectual property and things of that nature from our members, from our citizens. So yes, they are an enemy. Militarily, they're an enemy. Everything else, they're not an enemy. You see what I'm saying?
But how you enemy militarily? This is what I'm asking. If the military is what? To defend, to attack, to kill, destroy. When your political conversations go down, when your when everything breaks down, you go to the military, right? Because if I can't talk you into
it, is the wrong way. More of foes. More of a, I would say maybe a foe where somebody that you're cautious. You're cautious around. You are.
but why keep doing? Why do you allow them to buy? I understand what I'm saying, but I'm saying, why do you allow them to buy land in our country? Why do you allow? Why are we borrowing money from them? Why do we allow them to have a stake in our country? One, they have a differing government system. They want to spread their system of communist, of a more of a dictatorial control type system of the people. We don't have that. So if we are becoming slaves to them, if you will, if we are becoming indebted to them, that means they have a greater influence on how we behave before they call the money that we owe them. So it doesn't make sense to me to do business with people that you know don't like you and you don't like. It doesn't make sense to me to do business with people when you say they are affecting our elections. It's not just China. You got Russia and anybody else is doing it as well. But why do you do business with these people? What's happening is so much. Are we so dependent and intertwined nowadays with needing raw materials or needing the money or needing the economics that we allow folk to come into our lives and try and destroy us, and we still smile like we don't know that they know that we know that they know that we know that they're trying to destroy our country and our way of life, one, by influencing our presidents. I don't understand it.
The answer to your question is yes, we do.
I know, but I don't understand it.
It makes no
stuck on it.
sense.
It makes none.
It makes
It
no
doesn't.
sense. Where you have these foreign countries who come in and buy. Look at the 2016 election. What was one of the biggest things that was kind of talked about but wasn't really talked about as much as it should have been? Was the uranium, 20% uranium, US's uranium.
Yeah, they transferred over.
Went to Russia.
Yeah. Yeah, here you go, Russia. Get some of this uranium. What do you do with uranium? Make nuclear bombs? What else can you, if we send it to uranium to Russia, what could Russia do with that uranium? Send it to somebody else?
Yes, sir.
Right? And that's one of the problems. We can go on and on where they talk about just the weapons of mass destruction or who have nuclear weapons and the information. Like when countries fall apart, like when Iran fell apart, Iraq fell apart, the technology they had, who is getting a hold of that? Who is getting a hold of? So if you give a country, a small country that's really unstable, the technology, the ability and the willingness to make nuclear bombs or weapons of mass destruction, and they don't have the ability to protect that information, then somebody could go steal it from them. They might have a good intention. It's kind of the same thing. Listen, somebody don't know what they're talking about, but they think they do. Somebody can go steal that information from them and share it with anybody and everybody wants to know. So if you got the ability to make a nuclear weapon and you don't want everybody to have it, then your best bet is not to tell nobody. Or not to share it, because as soon as you share it with somebody, then they have it now. And if they fall out with you, if they have new regimes or new political stances, new allies, then they can be like, hey, I'll go ahead and share it with my new guy. And my new guy doesn't like you, but I like him and I need him to like me even more to do business with me. So I'm going to share this nuclear stuff. And it just gets on and on. Before you know it, all your enemies have the ability to destroy you. You have lost your leverage.
Yes, sir.
It's crazy.
Yes, sir. And that's one of the things that we, as a voting block of people, have to impress upon our elected officials, because this doesn't just happen because for the sake of happening.
Right.
These are deals that are being cut. These are deals that are being made, and unless we let them understand at the ballot box that this is unacceptable, you're gonna always have that.
Right.
The same thing with spending. You're gonna always have it as long as the voting public doesn't make a stink about it.
Right.
As long as the voting public allows it to happen, turns a blind eye, act like, well, everyone else is doing it, like a bunch of kids. Everyone else is doing it. Why can't we do it?
Yeah.
We're getting nothing out of the deal with a lot of the deals that we have made with these foreign countries, with these adversaries. They are adversaries. They are, like I said, I wouldn't necessarily call them enemies, but they are adversarial, and they are people that we keep a close eye on. We watch out, but at the same token, though, we are trying to make peace, make nice with people. You know what I mean? Not just be the bully, not just be the mean guy. So we give a little, we take a little, but there's certain things that where you talk about land and you talk about them being a part of our banking institutions, where we're like, yeah, no, we can't allow you to be a part of that.
Right.
I mean, we can't allow you to have your foothold in that. You look at, we had Senator, what's her face? Senator Feinstein
Mm-hmm.
on the Judiciary Committee and other committees, been in Senate for 300 years.
And counting, right?
And counting. For 20 years, her driver was a Chinese spy.
Yeah.
Her 20-year driver was a Chinese spy. You never even really heard about this story. This just broke, I would say, maybe 3 years ago. I want to know how come she went to jail.
What she said she didn't know.
Listen.
Yeah, the Washington Post broke it in August, talked about it on August 24th. The spy who drove her, Dianne Feinstein, in the Chinese espionage. Yes, the Washington Post talks on that.
Yeah. You got Chinese spies, you got Russian spies, you got spies throughout the United States, and a lot of them we allow in because of our immigration system and the things that we try to be friendly, and we try to be one of those to a certain extent. We try to be one of those countries that is helping and welcoming, and you just can't really do that with everybody. You know what I mean? You don't invite certain people to your home, do you?
No. Everybody can't come up in here.
You know what I mean?
No, everybody can't come up in here.
I need a few more references, cousin.
Right? Yeah, everybody can't come up in here. You come in here.
You ain't coming around my house.
You might be rolled out. I don't know you like that.
Around my dog. I don't know what you might try to do to my dog. I need a little bit more references.
You do love that dog too.
I love my dog.
You do love that dog. All right, let's go. What else we got to do? We're going to wrap this thing up a couple more minutes. Anything else we'll talk about? You guys, anybody on the hot spot? Y'all want to talk about something out here in
we talk about Hunter Biden, though. We talked about Joe Biden, but we didn't really talk about Hunter Biden.
Let's talk about Hunter, but let's say this too. We haven't posted a number because we're not taking calls tonight. We just want to do it this way. Just type in what you want to do, what you want to say, and we can have a conversation with you. So we appreciate everybody's tuning in so far. Joe Wilson, Tammy Perry has chimed in. I appreciate that. Who else? Devon has chimed in. Dennis, appreciate you guys. Shauna, let's see. Oliver, Doris, Michael Murdoch, again Dennis Applegate, Oliver from what did you say, from France? Olivier, that's another person. Now, two different people. So Olivier from France tuned in. We appreciate that. So we all the way over in France right now. I didn't even know
you watching us over there in France.
All right. Elizabeth Dubé, appreciate that for you tuning in. So we got a number of people tuning in. So we definitely appreciate that. Sean said, "What's up?" Thank you, Sean. So you guys, what do you want to hear about? Devonna says, "What about Prop 16?"
She got to educate me on Prop 16. I don't know Prop 16.
Propositions.
Thing.
Yeah, that's definitely. Devonna lives out in California.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, she gives me some info what's going on in Cali. So I'm gonna look at it with Prop 16 on a Ballotpedia. It's the repeal Proposition 209, California Proposition 16, repeal Proposition 209, affirmative action amendment. California Proposition 16, the repeal Proposition, the 209 amendment is on the ballot in California, and it's legislative referred Constitution amendment that's going to be, of course, November the 3rd. A yes vote supports the Constitution amendment to repeal Prop 209, which happened in 1996, which stated that the government and public institutions cannot discriminate against or grant a preferential treatment to persons on the basis of race, sex, color, ethnicity, or national origin in public employment, public education, and public contracting. A no on this Proposition 16, it opposes this constitutional amendment, thereby keeping Proposition 209, which states that the government and public institutions cannot discriminate against or grant preferential treatment to persons on the basis of sex, blah, blah, blah. All right.
That's in California?
Yes, in California.
A liberal state like that got a proposition like that on the ballot?
Yep.
That's surprising. Mrs. Diavana, you better get on out of California. Get on up out of California. Between the fires and the crazy folks, it's a bad state. But
what do you think? Let's talk about this. That's some good stuff right there. We got a couple more minutes. Let's talk about. So basic again is the take down affirmative action. Where you stand on affirmative action, Whitfield?
I've never been a fan of affirmative action. However, I do understand why it was put in place. There was just not enough opportunities provided to minorities, to Black folks specifically.
Right.
Whether it was education, whether it was jobs, things of that nature. So yes, I do get it. I do understand it. However, I believe that if you build up your own system, you need what's it called? I lost my train of thought. I had a Joe Biden.
Affirmative action. You don't need any special treatment. You got a Joe Bidenism. I'm telling you. Say his name. You evoked him. He's coming. You're channeling Joe Biden. Hey, look at my lips when you get stuck. I'm out of you.
Yeah.
But I want to know about you guys.
No, I've never really been a fan of it. I think that's why you need your own. You need your own. But
here's the thing:
your own systems, and you don't have to worry about whether or not you're going to get the job because of your race.
Yeah,
that job based on your qualifications, based on your education, based on the things that your work experience, which is the way it should be.
The way it should be, but this is America. So let's take a look at this. We look at affirmative action. We look at affirmative action, and as you said, affirmative action came out in the 60s, and it's because of the discrimination was going on. Mm-hmm. All right. Now, when you say people should have their own, when we look at it from two different perspectives, you got to come up with your own conclusion. Being able, if people should be able to have their own, shouldn't they be allowed to? If you have laws that keep you from having your own, how can you have your own and be independent? On a second thing, one thing that help get affirmative action passed, I'm on a federal level, but let Diaz talk about on the state level, but they understand the same principle. If my tax dollars are going to a company, mm-hmm. and if these might be going to them, and they're getting tax breaks, so my tax dollars are going to aid this company, and this company will not hire anybody that looks like me because the simple fact that they look like me, then I got a problem with that company getting my tax dollars. But
now you're wading into intent, and you can say, and the argument can always be made, well, I didn't get the job because I was Black. And this person didn't get the job because he was Black or Hispanic or whatever the case may be. And the job only went to this person because they was white. So the argument can always be made for that.
Right. No, I'm talking about the real action when we was really like blatant, like you cannot apply.
When it's blatant, it's blatant. When it's like, when they got the sign on the window say no Negroes allowed.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? You don't need the intent is clear.
Yeah. Again, if my tax dollars are going to you, I say go ahead and we're gonna cut my tax dollars. You do what you want to do. But if I'm not sending my money to you, if you're not even going to do business with me or give me opportunity to work there, if that's what I wanted to do. So let's fast forward. This is we got to wrap this up. But I remember it was about 2001, 2002. I took a race relations course right here in Jacksonville, and it was created by the city to bring the races together. And one of the gentlemen that was there, he was in his 70s, and he was retired. Guy from the Navy. I forgot what he wasn't an officer, but he was up pretty high, maybe a chief or something. And he was saying how he doesn't respect anybody in the military, anywhere else that got a job through affirmative action. And I'm looking at his age. Again, it's like 2000, 2001. He said he was in his 70s. So he was born, he was born in the 30s and 20s or 30s, right? So I'm saying, I asked the question because we couldn't act directly, but I'm saying if you don't respect a person that got their position through affirmative action, then can you respect your position or your father or your grandfather who obviously lived through the times of when Black people were enslaved and couldn't do anything? Can you respect the positions that they have when your father didn't have to compete against mine? Can you say that the presidents that we have been the best presidents when my grandfather couldn't run for president, but yours could? Or women that couldn't run? How can you say that these guys that you honor now were really the best our country could provide when they created the laws that didn't allow anybody else, minorities and women, to compete? So if you can't respect my father or my grandfather that got the job because the government said you now have to hire a certain amount of minorities, then you can't respect the same people who got the job because their job said they won't hire a certain amount of people. So you can't have respect one way or the other. But he didn't have an answer for it. He just kind of looked at me like I was crazy. So I'm kind of stuck on the affirmative action issue. And I think in 2020, though, we need to go ahead and fade that thing out, because we can't sit there and just keep saying racism, racism, racism. We got to go ahead, as you said, we got to take it. And the only way to cure racism is independence.
Until
independence.
Lon Singer was actually brought up that we started talking about this proposition. It's not something I've ever thought about. To be honest with you, it's not affirmative action.
Ending affirmative? Really?
Yeah, it's not something I've ever really thought about. You know, I was in the military for 20 years.
But just think about the history of the military. And for a long time, you could black folk wouldn't get promoted. Even if we can go back. I mean, you're not that old.
1993.
Yeah, but we go back to Vietnam. But what about discrimination in Vietnam?
You ain't hearing me. It's not something I ever thought about, because it was not something I've ever had to think about or deal with.
That you know
of. It is something I'm certainly going to research now and do a lot more.
And you can look at it.
Affirmative action is never something I've actually dove into.
Okay.
To actually,
check it out.
You know, see a lot of the different pros and cons concerning it.
Right.
It's just not something I've ever really thought about.
Yeah. But it's definitely true. And again, we're younger, but you think about the older generations and the things they had to go through. Certainly. Then you would think, okay, well, affirmative action is needed, necessary, required, and something that you shouldn't need it. But here we are in this country. Again, we see what's happened with discrimination. So if it's happening, but again, you're taking my tax dollars, then why would we not have to put some pressure on you to do right because you're taking my money? But again, in 2020, we got to come to a point. It's like we got to stand on 2 feet. And I keep saying the only way to fight racism is to be able to do for yourself. When these racists come to you and say you are less than them, or they want, I can't be less than you because I can do anything that you can, if not more. I got my own schools. I got my own buildings. I have my own businesses. I have everything. I can do anything and everything without you. That's what is respected. But if you have to depend on the government, some grown man has got to take the money he earned and then send it your grown behind and your family because you can't make it, there's no way he'll ever respect you. Now, nowadays, they might not say it in your face because it's just, faux pas. You'll get in trouble for that. But
right.
Somebody's thinking, if you can't stand on your own 2 feet as a man, but I can, how are you going to think you equal?
Yeah, you less than me.
Yeah, and when you can look at it like, look at sports and all that. If you play in a sport and the teams always got to spot you 2 touchdowns before they play you, they got to spot you. You come on for the kickoff, it's 14-0. There's no way that they respect your football game. Hey, don't let that come out your mouth wrong. Now we friends, but we ain't that friends. We talk about my team, all right? But you understand the point what I'm making. If somebody's always got to spot you, it goes back to what the Democrats are saying. What about these voting, having voting IDs? Black people can't have voting IDs. That's discrimination. Yeah. What are you saying? Are you actually serious? I don't know. No black person don't have no ID.
Not one.
No, I don't know. Where do you find these people from that can't get an ID? I don't understand it. You had a job, Social Security. You got all the things. You want to cash a check. You want to have a check. You got something. And then again, you can't get ID in all these years because you've been talking about the same ID situation at least for 3-4 elections now. Are you telling me in 12 or 16 years that your person, that 1 or 2 people that's somewhere in the back hills or somewhere has not been able to save $35, $45 to get an ID if it costs that much?
Yes, sir.
In 12 years,
2016, though, we had the conversation. There was a young woman that you was friendly with, and she was saying she know people that don't have. She know people that don't have ID.
Where you meet these people?
Feeding their family and get ID. Like the election was 2 years ago. You can't say $24 to go to get you a state ID in 2 years.
Exactly. Now you want to exactly. So and the Democrats, and the Democrats put it on black people, and that makes us look like we weak. Like they got to take care of us. But again, that's how they treat us anyway. They got to take care of us. We can't be able to, we ain't allowed to stand on 2 feet. Well, we're allowed to, but because we can't. So we gotta be coddled. We gotta be baby. We gotta be made special provisions for. You know, we can't do anything like anybody else can, because you ain't complaining that it's against Asians. You ain't complaining that it's against Hispanics. It's just, well, you're gonna put the dark Hispanics in with us, of course. But them light Hispanics, you know what I'm saying? Them Latin X's, they want to get all the crazy names to change, but it's always geared towards us, like we can't do a doggone thing. We ain't broke like that. We are educated people. Yes, we do things around here. We go everywhere. Now we can say, like my mom say, literally from the White House all the way down to the outhouse. We got everything in between. So you can't sit here and tell me that Black folk are discriminated against when you ask for an ID to go vote. But that's what they sell, and it just really ticks me off. But all right. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. What you got, Christian? What are we gonna say? We did a lot today, didn't we?
Oh yeah, this is the first time we have been back. We had, like I said, 2-week hiatus because we had a lot of we had some scheduling difficulties.
Yeah, some difficulties. But we're back.
Life happens.
It does.
But we was able to get on tonight, and we appreciate everybody who's listening, who commented. Next time we come on, we will have the telephone number ready, and y'all guys, ladies, guys, and girls can call in, men and women, should I say. You can call in and be a part of the show. We appreciate the people listening to us from all over, from out in California, New York, down to Orlando, France. We appreciate y'all listening to us and taking your time out your evening to talk politics with us.
There you go. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Black Code Red. I am the Sojourner. And this is Christian Whitfield. And what's your handle name?
Just call me the dude, man.
The dude?
Just call me the dude.
He's that dude, right? He's that guy, right?
You people.
Yeah, you people. That's what it is. That's what it is. But again, stay tuned, and we'll let you know we're coming back on the air again. We'll have some different things. We're going to have some guests soon. And we're gonna make this thing bigger and better. But we definitely always think critically and get involved, ladies and gentlemen, with your family, with your community, and your country.
Yes,
all right. Have a good night.
Peace.